Have you ever felt like the day just flies by, yet when you look back, you've barely accomplished anything? Tasks remain unfinished, deadlines are closing in, and you find yourself stuck in a cycle of stress. The truth is, the problem isn't that you don't have enough time, it's how you manage it. The good news is, by changing just a few simple habits, you can turn your 24 hours into a powerful tool to achieve your goals. In this video, I'll share with you 5 highly effective time management habits, practical and easy to apply steps that will help you stay focused, cut procrastination, and achieve outstanding results. One of the most powerful habits for mastering time management is planning your day the night before. While it sounds deceptively simple, this habit has the ability to shift how you begin your mornings, how you maintain focus, and how much you actually achieve during the day. Many people lose significant amounts of time every morning deciding what to do first, which task deserves priority, or what goal they should tackle. By eliminating this uncertainty, you begin your day already primed for action. Planning the night before isn't just about writing a to-do list, it's about creating a structure that reduces friction, builds clarity, and boosts momentum. Think of how most mornings go when you don't prepare ahead of time. You wake up, scroll your phone, maybe have breakfast, then try to figure out where to begin. The brain, especially in the early hours, is more vulnerable to distraction because it hasn't yet committed itself to a purposeful path. This is where planning shines. When you dedicate just 10 to 15 minutes the evening prior to what needs to be done, you bypass decision fatigue and gain a mental map for the day. You wake up, glance at your list, and immediately know what your first action will be. This clarity makes you feel in control and drastically cuts down wasted time. Planning at night also taps into the subconscious power of your brain. Outline your priorities before bed. Your mind continues to process those goals while you sleep. This often leads to waking up with fresh ideas or renewed motivation about how to tackle certain tasks. You might even find solutions to problems that seemed challenging the previous day. By contrast, if you leave everything undefined, your brain spends its early energy figuring out logistics instead of creating momentum. The act of planning should be intentional, not overwhelming. Many people fail at this habit because they overcommit. They write long lists with 15 or 20 items, only to feel crushed by their own expectations the next day. Instead, planning should focus on no more than 3 major priorities. These are your non-negotiables. Everything else you accomplish is extra. By narrowing down your list, you not only improve the odds of actually completing your goals, but also experience the psychological win of crossing items off. This small success breeds confidence and encourages consistency in the habit. Let's imagine a practical example. Suppose you're working on a big presentation for your job, need to reply to clients, and also want to maintain your fitness routine. The night before, you could outline the next day as follows. Finish the first draft of the presentation before 11 a.m. Respond to client emails after lunch. Between 1 and 2 p.m. go to the gym at 6 p.m. That's it. 3 key priorities. Anything beyond these is secondary. By writing this plan the night before, you wake up with clarity. Your morning is already spoken for by the presentation. You don't spend 20 minutes deciding whether to do email first, scroll through social media, or procrastinate. This structure frees you from indecision. Another major advantage of night before planning is the peace it brings at bedtime. Many people struggle to fall asleep because their mind races with unfinished tasks or unorganized thoughts. By transferring those mental notes onto paper or a digital planner, you offload them from your brain. This creates closure for the day, making it easier to rest without anxiety. Sleep quality improves, which in turn boosts focus and productivity the next day. So planning doesn't just save you time, it indirectly enhances your health and energy as well. Of course, sticking to this habit requires discipline. It can be tempting to skip planning because you're tired at night or feel that you'll figure it out in the morning. But consistency is key. The best way to sustain this habit is to make it part of your evening ritual. For example, right before brushing your teeth or after dinner, sit down with a notebook or digital planner and spend 10 minutes reviewing your day and setting up tomorrow. Over time, it becomes automatic. Just like locking the door before bed, technology can support this habit, but it should be used wisely. There are dozens of apps for task management, like Todoist, Notion, or Google Tasks that make nightly planning quick and easy. However, some people find a simple paper planner works best because it avoids digital distractions. The tool is less important than the consistency. The core principle is clarity. You should know exactly what your top priorities are when you wake up. Additionally, planning the night before helps you align with long-term goals. If you review your weekly or monthly objectives each evening, you can ensure your daily tasks feed into the bigger picture. Without this alignment, it's easy to get lost in busy work that feels productive but doesn't actually move you forward. By linking your daily actions to larger ambitions, you build momentum and make measurable progress. Critics of planning often argue that flexibility is important. And its true life doesn't always go as expected. Meetings get rescheduled, emergencies happen, energy levels fluctuate, but planning doesn't mean rigidity. A good nightly plan provides a roadmap, not a prison. If unexpected events occur, you can adapt, but you'll still know your original priorities and can adjust accordingly. In fact, when disruptions happen, having a plan makes it easier to recalibrate because you know what matters most. Ultimately, planning your day the night before is about reclaiming control over your time. It sets the tone for productivity, creates mental clarity, reduces stress, and ensures your actions align with your bigger goals. It's a small investment of time, just 10 minutes, that pays off exponentially. The people who master time management aren't necessarily working harder than everyone else. They're working with greater clarity and purpose. By making tomorrow's roadmap tonight, you give yourself a head start every single day. The second powerful habit for mastering time management is prioritizing tasks using the Eisenhower matrix. While planning gives you structure, prioritization determines what really deserves your time. One of the biggest traps people fall into is mistaking busyness for productivity. You can spend an entire day checking emails, attending meetings, or handling small requests, and yet feel exhausted without having accomplished anything truly important. This is where the Eisenhower matrix becomes a game changer. It teaches you how to separate the urgent from the important and act accordingly. The Eisenhower matrix is named after Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th President of the United States, who was renowned for his productivity and decision-making skills. He once famously said, "What is important is seldom urgent, and what is urgent is seldom important." That simple principle forms the foundation of the matrix, which divides tasks into 4 categories: urgent and important tasks that require immediate attention and directly affect your goals or responsibilities. These are crises, deadlines, or pressing problems. Important but not urgent tasks that matter for long-term growth and success but don't require immediate action. These include planning, strategizing, exercising, skill development, or building relationships. Urgent but not important tasks that demand your attention right away but don't contribute significantly to your goals. Examples include some emails, interruptions, or minor administrative tasks. Not urgent and not important tasks that neither help you grow nor require immediate action, such as mindless scrolling, binge watching, or gossiping. The real value of this framework lies in teaching you to focus on quadrant 2, important but not urgent. Most people spend their lives caught in quadrants 1 and 3, constantly firefighting or responding to others' demands. They rarely invest time in activities that actually build the future they want, because those tasks don't scream for immediate attention. By consciously shifting your energy toward quadrant 2, you build habits that prevent crises, reduce stress, and move you steadily toward meaningful achievements. Let's put this into perspective with a practical example. Imagine you're a project manager. An upcoming client presentation is due tomorrow. That's urgent and important. Meanwhile, improving your presentation skills or developing better project workflows are important but not urgent. Answering last-minute chat messages from colleagues about minor formatting details might be urgent but not important. Watching random YouTube videos about productivity while entertaining is neither urgent nor important. If you're not deliberate, you'll spend most of your day trapped in the urgent categories, constantly reacting instead of creating. However, when you adopt the Eisenhower matrix, you learn to schedule time for important but not urgent tasks, like improving systems, exercising, or planning, which over time reduces how many urgent crises you even face. It's like maintaining a car. If you prioritize regular oil changes and servicing important, not urgent, you avoid breakdowns that force you into costly emergency repairs. Urgent and important. Closing parenthesis. Another strength of the matrix is that it helps you say no. Many people struggle with overcommitment because they feel obligated to handle every request. But when you see clearly that a task is urgent but not important, you realize it's better to delegate it, reschedule it, or drop it entirely. For example, replying immediately to every email may feel urgent, but most emails don't impact your key goals. By labeling them accurately, you free yourself from the illusion of productivity. To implement this habit effectively, you don't need fancy tools. You can draw the matrix on paper, use sticky notes, or employ digital apps like Trello or Notion. Each day, take a few minutes to categorize your tasks. Then, align your schedule so that quadrant 2 gets protected time blocks. This might mean reserving an hour in the morning for strategic work before checking your email, or scheduling a recurring workout session to protect your health. Over time, these small adjustments compound into transformative results. One common mistake people make is believing they don't have time for important but not urgent tasks. Ironically, it's precisely because they neglect these tasks that they feel constantly short on time. By neglecting planning, they invite chaos. By neglecting exercise, they suffer fatigue. By neglecting learning, they stagnate professionally. Each neglected quadrant 2 activity creates more quadrant 1 emergencies down the road. Shifting focus may feel uncomfortable at first, but it's the key to escaping the cycle of reactivity. Another point worth mentioning is the psychological relief this method brings. Many people experience anxiety because their task list feels endless. When you organize tasks into the matrix, you immediately see that not everything requires your attention. Some items can wait, others can be delegated, and some don't deserve your time at all. This clarity reduces overwhelm and allows you to approach your work with confidence and calm. The Eisenhower matrix is more than just a productivity hack, it's a philosophy of intentional living. It forces you to ask, am I spending my time on what truly matters? Instead of being at the mercy of urgent demands, you regain control and direct your energy toward meaningful, high-impact work. By practicing this habit daily, you'll notice a profound shift. Your days will feel less chaotic, your decisions will be clearer, and your progress toward long-term goals will accelerate. Most importantly, you'll begin to live proactively instead of reactively, making choices aligned with your values rather than external pressures. The third essential habit for effective time management is leveraging the Pomodoro technique to maintain focus and energy. Even when you plan carefully and prioritize correctly, productivity often breaks down because of mental fatigue, distractions, or simply underestimating how long tasks take. The Pomodoro technique addresses all of these issues by structuring your work into short, focused intervals with built-in breaks. At its core, the Pomodoro technique is simple. You set a timer for 25 minutes and dedicate that block entirely to a single task. Once the timer rings, you take a 5-minute break. This 25-to-5 cycle is called 1 Pomodoro. After completing 4 Pomodoros, you reward yourself with a longer break, typically 15 to 30 minutes. It may sound almost too simple, but the method is incredibly effective at boosting focus, reducing procrastination, and helping you work with not against your brain's natural rhythms. One of the reasons the Pomodoro technique works so well is that it eliminates the vague and overwhelming feeling of having to work all day. Instead of staring down an endless mountain of tasks, you only have to climb one small hill at a time, just 25 minutes. Psychologically, this makes starting much easier. The brain doesn't resist short sprints as strongly as it resists long marathons. You tell yourself, I only need to focus for 25 minutes, and before you know it, momentum carries you forward. Another powerful benefit is the way it combats distractions. In our modern environment, distractions are constant notifications, emails, social media, or even random thoughts. The Pomodoro timer acts like a contract with yourself. For these 25 minutes, you commit fully. If a distraction arises, you jot it down quickly to handle during your break, then return immediately to the task. This creates a mental boundary that keeps your focus intact. The technique also teaches you to recognize and respect your mental energy limits. Many people push themselves to work for hours without pause, which leads to diminishing returns. By taking regular breaks, you allow your brain to rest and reset. During those 5 minutes, you can stretch, hydrate, walk around, or even close your eyes briefly. These micro breaks may seem insignificant, but they recharge your focus so that each Pomodoro remains sharp and productive. Over time, the Pomodoro technique provides valuable insight into how long tasks actually take. For example, you might assume writing a report will take an hour. After timing yourself, you realize it actually requires 4 Pomodoros, or roughly 2 hours of focused work. With breaks, this awareness helps you plan your schedule more accurately and avoid underestimating workload, which is a common source of stress. Let's consider a practical scenario. Suppose you're preparing for an important exam. Instead of trying to study for 6 hours straight, you break the day into 12 Pomodoros. You focus intensely on a specific topic for 25 minutes, then allow your brain to rest for 5. Over the course of the day, you cover significant material while avoiding burnout. By the evening, you feel accomplished rather than drained. The Pomodoro technique can also be tailored to fit individual preferences. Some people extend the work interval to 40 to 50 minutes, with 10-minute breaks, especially for tasks that require deep concentration like coding or writing. The principle remains the same: balance focused effort with regular rest. The goal is sustainability, not exhaustion. A subtle but important aspect of this habit is that it trains your brain to associate time with intensity. When you know you have a limited block, you naturally work with more urgency and less hesitation. This is similar to how athletes perform better in short sprints compared to endless jogs. The timer creates a sense of structure that sharpens your effort. Of course, like any method, the Pomodoro technique has its challenges. Some people find it difficult to stop mid-flow when the timer rings. Others feel frustrated if a task can't neatly fit into 25-minute increments. The key is flexibility. Use the structure as a guide, not a prison. If you're in the middle of a productive flow, you can extend the session. If a task finishes early, use the remaining time for review or preparation. What matters most is respecting the rhythm of focus and rest. Another potential obstacle is external interruptions: phone calls, meetings, or coworkers. To make Pomodoro work in such environments, you need to set clear boundaries. Inform others that you're in a focus session, silence notifications, and reserve specific times to check messages. Even if your Pomodoros get disrupted occasionally, the practice of working in concentrated bursts will still strengthen your focus over time. Beyond work, the Pomodoro technique can even be applied to everyday life. Household chores, exercise, routines, or creative hobbies all become more manageable when broken into timed intervals. For instance, cleaning your room for 25 minutes feels less daunting than committing to clean the whole house. Over multiple Pomodoros, even big projects become approachable. Ultimately, the true value of this habit lies in teaching you to respect your own attention span. Instead of fighting against fatigue or falling prey to distractions, you work in harmony with your natural capacity. This leads to greater productivity, reduced stress, and more consistent progress toward your goals. By adopting the Pomodoro technique, you transform time from a vague, slippery concept into a tangible structure. Each Pomodoro becomes a building block, and as you stack them, you create a visible path toward accomplishment. Rather than being overwhelmed by the idea of working all day, you realize that productivity is simply a matter of focusing for one Pomodoro at a time. The fourth habit for effective time management is learning to delegate tasks and say no. Time is finite, and no matter how skilled you become at planning, prioritizing, or structuring your focus, you will always face limitations. The reality is that you cannot do everything yourself. Recognizing this truth and acting on it by delegating tasks and refusing commitments that do not align with your goals is one of the most powerful ways to protect and maximize your time. Let's begin. With delegation, many people hesitate to delegate because they feel it's faster to do something themselves than to explain it to someone else. Others worry that delegation is a sign of weakness, or they fear the task won't be done exactly as they would like. But effective leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals understand that delegation is not about laziness or loss of control, it's about multiplying your impact. When you delegate, you free yourself to focus on higher value tasks while allowing others to contribute their strengths. Imagine a business owner who insists on handling every small administrative detail, answering emails, scheduling meetings, preparing documents. Not only does this consume valuable hours, but it also prevents them from working on strategic decisions that drive growth. By training a reliable assistant or using software tools to handle routine work, the owner reclaims time for what truly matters. The same principle applies in every area of life. Delegation doesn't just reduce workload, it expands capacity. Of course, delegation is a skill. To do it well, you need to choose the right person for the task, communicate clearly, and provide the necessary resources and authority. This may require some upfront effort, but the long-term payoff is immense. Over time, you build trust with your team or colleagues, and tasks begin to flow smoothly without constant supervision. The habit of delegating effectively turns you from a worker into a coordinator, ensuring that your time is spent where it creates the most value. Now let's talk about the other side of this habit, the power of saying no. Many people struggle with this because they want to be helpful, avoid conflict, or fear missing opportunities. But every time you say yes to something unimportant, you are saying no to something essential. Time is a zero-sum resource. If you accept every meeting invitation, agree to every request, or pursue every new project, you will quickly find yourself overcommitted and overwhelmed. Saying no is not about being selfish, it's about being intentional. Successful individuals understand that their energy must be directed toward their top priorities. When asked to take on an extra task, they evaluate whether it aligns with their goals or values. If it doesn't, they politely decline or propose an alternative. For example, instead of agreeing to attend a 2-hour meeting that isn't directly relevant, they might request a summary of key points afterward. This saves time while still staying informed. Learning to say no also requires overcoming guilt. Many of us equate refusal with letting others down, but in reality, constant overcommitment leads to poor performance and burnout, which harms both you and those depending on you. A firm but respectful no protects your focus and ensures that, when you do say yes, you can give your best. There are practical strategies to make saying no easier. One is to buy time before responding. Instead of immediately agreeing, you can say, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you." This gives you space to evaluate whether the commitment is truly worthwhile. Another approach is to offer alternatives. If you can't take on a task, suggest someone else who might be able to help. Or propose a smaller way you can contribute. Without overextending yourself, delegation and refusal often work hand in hand. For instance, when a new project comes your way, you might choose to accept it, but delegate most of the work to others. Or you might decide it's not aligned with your priorities and decline entirely. Either way, you are making a conscious decision, rather than being swept along by other people's agendas. A good example of this habit in action can be seen in successful managers. Strong managers don't try to handle every detail themselves. They delegate responsibilities to their team members. empowering them to grow while ensuring that the manager can focus on vision, leadership, and problem solving. They also say no to unnecessary meetings or tasks that don't advance their department's goals. By doing so, they maximize both their own time and the efficiency of their team. It's worth noting that delegation and saying no are not just professional skills. They apply in personal life as well. For example, in your home, delegating chores among family members ensures that no single person is overburdened, and saying no to social invitations that drain your energy allows you to spend time on meaningful relationships instead. Both habits create boundaries that protect your well-being. Ultimately, this habit is about protecting your most valuable resource, your attention. By consciously deciding which tasks deserve your energy, and by offloading or refusing the rest, you take control of your time rather than letting it be controlled by external demands. This is what separates those who are constantly busy but ineffective from those who are truly productive and successful. When combined with planning, prioritization, and focused work, the ability to delegate and say no creates a powerful shield against time waste. It ensures that your efforts are always aligned with your goals and that you have the capacity to pursue what truly matters. The fifth habit for effective time management is taking regular breaks and practicing self-care. At first glance, this might seem counterintuitive. After all, isn't time management about squeezing as much productivity as possible into each day? The truth is the opposite. If you try to push yourself endlessly without rest, you not only exhaust your body and mind, but also destroy your long-term effectiveness. Sustainable productivity requires balance, and that balance is achieved through deliberate pauses and intentional care for yourself. Let's begin with the importance of breaks. The human brain is not designed to maintain deep focus for hours on end. Studies in neuroscience and psychology show that attention works in cycles. After about 60 to 90 minutes of concentrated effort, mental performance begins to decline, errors increase, creativity fades, and tasks take longer. Without breaks, fatigue accumulates, leading to burnout. This is why methods like the Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes of work followed by a 5-minute break, are so effective. Short, structured pauses allow the brain to recover and reset, which makes returning to work far more productive. Breaks are not wasted time. They are a strategic investment in performance. A 5-minute walk, a few stretches, or even a glass of water can refresh the body and clear mental fog. Longer breaks, like a proper lunch away from the desk, provide even deeper recovery. The most effective professionals understand that stepping away at the right moment allows them to return with sharper focus and more energy. But beyond micro breaks during the day, self-care routines play an even bigger role in managing time effectively. Self-care encompasses sleep, nutrition, exercise, and mental well-being, all of which directly affect productivity. Consider sleep. People often sacrifice rest in the name of getting more done. Yet sleep deprivation reduces focus, memory, decision-making, and even emotional control. A person who works late into the night to finish a project may believe they're gaining extra hours, but in reality, they will lose far more the next day through sluggishness and mistakes. Prioritizing 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep is one of the most powerful time management strategies because it ensures you operate at peak capacity. Similarly, physical activity is not just about health but also about efficiency. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain, boosts energy, and reduces stress. Many successful leaders schedule workouts into their daily routine, treating it as non-negotiable because they know it enhances their performance in every other area. Even 20 to 30 minutes of walking, stretching, or yoga can make a significant difference. Nutrition, too, impacts time management. A diet heavy in processed foods or sugar may create energy spikes, followed by crashes, leaving you tired and unfocused. Balanced meals with protein, complex carbohydrates, and healthy fats provide sustained energy, helping you remain steady throughout the day. Hydration is equally critical. Even mild dehydration can impair concentration and slow down reaction times. Beyond the physical aspects, mental and emotional self-care ensures long-term sustainability. Stress, if unmanaged, drains focus and motivation. Techniques like mindfulness meditation, journaling, or simply practicing gratitude can significantly improve clarity and reduce anxiety. By regularly resetting your mental state, you approach tasks with calmness and perspective, rather than rushing in with a distracted mind. Taking breaks and practicing self-care also create an important psychological benefit. They prevent resentment toward work. If you never allow yourself rest or joy, even the most meaningful projects start to feel like burdens. On the other hand, when your schedule includes time for family, hobbies, and relaxation, you approach your work with renewed enthusiasm. Time management is not just about hours, it's about energy and fulfillment. A well-rested, happy individual achieves more in less time than someone who is chronically exhausted and resentful. It's also worth pointing out that breaks encourage creativity and problem solving. Many people experience aha moments not while grinding at their desk, but while showering, walking, or relaxing. The brain's default mode network activates during periods of rest, enabling connections and insights that don't emerge during focused effort. By giving yourself permission to pause, you open the door to deeper innovation and clarity. The challenge, however, lies in practicing breaks and self-care without letting them turn into procrastination. This requires boundaries. A break should not become a one-hour dive into social media. Self-care should not become an excuse for avoiding responsibilities. The key is to structure these pauses intentionally. Schedule them into your day, just like meetings or tasks. For example, block out 15 minutes mid-morning and mid-afternoon for a short walk, or set a bedtime alarm to remind yourself when it's time to wind down for sleep. By making rest a planned habit, you ensure it serves productivity rather than undermining it. A useful mindset shift is to see rest and care as fuel for productivity, not a distraction from it. When you invest in yourself, you sharpen the tool with which you do all your work, your mind and body. Think of it like maintaining a car. You wouldn't drive endlessly without refueling or servicing the engine. In the same way, breaks, sleep, exercise, and proper nutrition keep you functioning at your best. Finally, consider the long-term picture. Many ambitious individuals push themselves relentlessly for short-term gains, only to face burnout, illness, or loss of motivation later. True mastery of time management is not about sprinting, it's about running a marathon. Those who build regular breaks and self-care into their lives are able to sustain high performance for years, not just weeks. They avoid the cycle of overwork and crash, maintaining steady progress toward their goals. In summary, the fifth habit reminds us that managing time effectively is not just about external techniques, it's also about internal balance. Breaks restore focus, self-care sustains energy, and both create resilience for the challenges ahead. Without them, all other habits eventually collapse. With them, you can maintain clarity, strength, and motivation for the long journey of success. Remember, time is the one resource you can never get back. Every hour you waste is an opportunity lost, but every hour you invest wisely brings you closer to the life you want. Start small, apply these habits consistently, and watch how your days transform into stepping stones toward success. The future you will thank you for the choices you make today. So, the question is, how will you choose to spend your next 24 hours? If you found these time management habits helpful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss new strategies to boost your productivity and achieve your goals. And let me know in the comments which of these 5 habits will you start using today. Your success story might inspire someone else.